I'm Chad Kincaid with That Grape Juice, and today we have a very special guest. Please help me in welcoming Dr. Contessa Metcalfe. How are you today?
I'm amazing. You definitely have a face for the camera. I just want you to know that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you,
Of
thank you. Oh,
course.
let me quickly recover from that. Yeah, so I want to start off. You have such an impressive career, from
Thank you.
serving as a flight surgeon in the Navy to running your own practice and working in pharmacovigilance. What
Yeah.
is the secret to balancing it all?
Man, I think it's always changing it. So another thing I do is I'm medical director of a couple of substance use disorder clinics. And
Hmm.
so I try to change and vary my career and try to learn new skills all the time. And it just makes me be a better doctor for my patients. And then also I don't lose empathy because I think what happens is when you get in any job, you start becoming like, this is just routine. You don't treat people like they have choices. Like you sometimes take for granted the power and
Hmm.
of the responsibility that you have.
Hmm.
And so I don't ever take that for granted. I remember that these people are entrusting me with their care, and I can't just like I can't think about what's going on at home. I can't think about what I didn't do
Yeah.
with my kids or what I still have to accomplish when I get home. I got to focus on this person and give them 100% of my time and attention. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect. And speaking about your practice, Chastain Integrative Medicine focuses on medical aesthetics, preventive care, and addiction medicine.
Yes.
What inspired you to take that route?
Well, I started one, I
Mhm.
needed to morph into some time where I was in control of my schedule,
Yeah.
right? Because that's what happened. Like we had a nanny, and then we had, it was kind of like we needed all these people to like let our house, like
Mhm.
go, right? We just were not in, we didn't weren't in control of our time, and then I felt like at work again, I wasn't able to do all the things that I love.
Yeah.
And so I opened up a small practice.
Mhm.
It was a challenge at first because my husband was like, wait, we got good jobs. Like, why are we taking on this responsibility of building out a practice and taking on overhead? But that power of like being in control of our schedule and being able to, I pick my kids up from school every day. I take them to, Kumon and what other stuff they got to do. I make their games and practices and tryouts, and that being more available to my kids, that was important for me to still,
Mhm.
again, be able to be a great mom and also a great doctor.
Yeah.
And we now actually purchased a building last year. And so we're expanding our practice. My husband's completely bought in now. If you notice, if you go watch the old episodes,
Yeah.
like he was like, I don't
Yeah.
know about this. So we are now expanding and we're really doing comprehensive primary care. So
Yeah.
we'll be able to take care of all the needs of our
Mhm.
patients. And that's exactly what I wanted us to ultimately get to.
Hmm. That's amazing. And so you have this amazing professional career. And so outside of medicine, we've seen you take on many different passions, such as riding motorcycles, traveling, and
Yeah.
even competing in fitness competitions.
Yep.
And then also Fashion Week is coming up. So what do you, what, as far as fashion, what are
Yeah.
some of your favorite like houses and
Yes.
what are some of your other hobbies that you like to do? What's next for you?
So I love acting. I used to do plays and stuff when I was younger. And I did like 3 movies last year. So that was so much fun.
Hmm.
As far as my favorite designers, I love, believe it or not, conservative Ralph Lauren. I love Balmain. I love Tom Ford. Like I like straight lines and things that are like timeless and classic.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel like, honestly, I'm not a real trendy girl.
Yeah.
I have to depend on other people to help me with that because my default is my hair in a bun and just no makeup and just,
Hmm.
just coming just natural. But sometimes it's fun to become a girly girl and get all dressed up and be, I call it my naked girl era.
Sure.
Just kind of showing my sexy side because I feel like women, especially the older we get, we kind of start shying away from what we're able to do. We're not
Hmm.
supposed to show our belly button. We're not supposed to show too much leg. But I feel like you can do that forever. Like you should be able to have fun with fashion and whatever makes you feel beautiful. And so that's where I am right now.
Well, one, you are you have your own personal style. You're not just a fashion, you have style. And
Thank you.
then two, also with in the most respectful way, you have an amazing body, so you can pull off just about anything. Yeah.
Thank you. That
So,
took some work though. That did take some work.
mhm,
I think people are like, you didn't need to lose any weight. I
mhm,
did because I was so tired. For me, it was more about, I think people they call it so many different things, but like I really had like chronic fatigue. Like I
yeah,
was tired all the time. I felt overwhelmed. I never felt, even when I went to sleep, I didn't feel energetic. When it was time to go to sleep, I couldn't go to sleep.
mhm.
So it was just this horrible cycle of me not taking care of myself. My body was not behaving in the way I wanted it to.
Yeah.
And so when I started to like really invest with good food and exercise and like treating my body like it was a machine, right? That I wanted it to like have some output of the things I wanted to do, it really started responding and looking better.
Yeah.
And I felt better. I'm more flexible. I can do a handstand. I can do the splits. Like I'm telling you, stuff
Yeah.
that I couldn't do since I was a cheerleader in high school, I can
Mhm.
do now. So thank you.
No, that's amazing. But we gotta jump right into it now. Your return. Welcome back to
Thank you.
Bravo's Married to
Did you
Medicine.
miss me?
We definitely missed you, and we saw you in episode one make your grand return at the Whitney party. What was that like coming back and meeting and seeing all the women again?
Yeah, it was funny because a couple of people knew I was coming, of course,
Hmm.
but some people didn't know I was coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's funny, like I felt like it was just like I had never been gone. That's the thing about when you have friends that you've had friends for a long time.
Yeah.
You leave for a minute, but when you come back after a couple of minutes, like all that kind of discomfort goes away. And it's just like riding a bike,
Yeah.
it becomes routine. And I'm glad about that. And I was actually very excited to see. I like it when new people come into the group
Hmm.
because we're not mean girls, right? We're not, there's enough for everybody. And
Yeah.
there's so many amazing medical professionals in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Did we freeze? Okay. But yeah, so I just love it when there's new faces and new people. And so it was just great to be able to see like how T has integrated into the group and Phaedra, and then, and just seeing how everybody's navigating this new normal that we call marriage in
Absolutely.
season
Now,
11.
switching, right, right, and switching temperatures. Let's jump right into episode five.
Yes.
The situation with Dr. Heavenly.
Yes.
I mean, what was going through your mind at that moment? Because we all know Dr. Heavenly. Her comeback is usually your mama. And what?
Well, it was a little different this time. And I actually gave her a couple of chances, and I'm glad they didn't show all of them. But
Hmm.
she said some pretty toxic things about my mom. And I think ultimately, I think she was just as much as my mom was the one who kind of called her stray, so to speak.
Yeah.
It's just her way of like going too far to get a
Hmm.
response. And sometimes it's almost like it's just too toxic.
Yeah.
But on the same token, you have to realize that you are responsible for your own
Hmm.
behaviors. And I am also a true like military person, Gemini. Like when somebody like pokes me, I'm going to like try to kill them. and,
Right.
that's my default. And I don't mean to, and I'm going to apologize at the funeral, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
But it just still happened.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of the good thing about, I think, on this show is watching people who don't back down. Because
Right.
if you see everybody who's, people are so scared of certain people, you're just like, man, come on now, somebody got to have a backbone here.
Yeah.
And so nobody, like, she looks, it's like, you kind of go and, they say the emperor has no clothes.
Hmm.
That's how I feel about her. Like for the
Yeah.
most part, I was like, oh, stop, whatever. And that's how I felt like immediately after. I was like, why did I even let her get me riled up? I should have just kept it moving.
Very true. And the way I see it is there's hurt on both sides. So I'd like to know, and I saw that on the couples trip, you both are on Team Shark together. So how do you navigate during the couples trip, and where do you and Dr. Heavenly stand now?
Well, I think I stand really frequently in her head because I see
Hmm.
she's always talking about me on social media, Twitter, Facebook,
Hmm.
Instagram, whatever, YouTube. And if you notice, other than this interview, if I'm not asked, I ain't talking about her at all. So I think I'm running around rent free, which is
Hmm.
quite amazing because I get a lot of attention from her.
Right.
And that's, to me, it's a little flattery. I just wish, like I said, she would just apologize and just be like, I miss you. I want to be your friend. I'm just kind of I feel like she's doing a lot of it just to keep my attention.
Right.
But I'm busy at work. I got like 12 jobs.
Yeah.
So I don't hear about it until somebody tells me.
Hmm.
But I just wish that we could just move forward and just keep it like more adults and not with all the insults and all the social media jabs. And, let's just have a conversation and be grown-ups and just move forward.
Absolutely. And another thing that sort of provoked the argument at that point was, comment about your friendship with Sweet Tea and that it's a fake friendship. And, as a viewer, we would like to know, like, how did that friendship form? And, how are you two
And
now?
even that comment, I was just like, why do you care? Why do
Yeah.
you care about who I'm friends with? Like, this is so stalkerish. Like, you care I'm friends with somebody else. Like, I thought you didn't care about me, but you care about who I'm friends with.
Hmm.
But that just, again, thinking back on it, you're just like, oh, you miss me. You want me to be
Yeah.
your friend, your
Hmm.
friend. But the way me and T became friends is just kind of the same way as everybody became friends with T. And the way Heavenly became friends with T, like the guys keep in touch. And
Yeah.
so the guys bring us any women that they're dating. And
Yeah.
so Scott and Greg never stopped being friends. And when they were dating, we started going out to dinner and stuff and talking because she was new to Atlanta. Just don't forget, she moved to Atlanta for a man.
Mhm.
And so he was, of course, trying to introduce her to people who are nice. And
Yeah.
so I'm the nicest person anybody knows,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And she's super nice.
Mhm.
And we also were both in the military together.
Mhm.
And we're both Geminis, believe it or
Mhm.
not. So we have a lot in common. And so when I met her instantly, I just thought she was just the most adorable thing in the world. And the way that she absolutely loves Greg, she loves that man.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she wants to make, I mean, even popping in his DMs, like I would never do that.
Mhm.
I think she just really wants to make Atlanta work and to make that couplehood work.
Mhm.
And so I just thought that was very endearing because most women nowadays act like they don't need nobody, they don't want nobody,
Mhm.
and they definitely don't show in front of strangers how much they're into the person that they're dating.
Right.
And
Mhm.
she was like mush with this man. And I was just like, man, I just hope they make it.
Yeah.
And as much as I can be a support system to them, that's really what I wanted to be. And so that's how we
Absolutely.
became friends. And again, I just felt like when I met her, there was no airs, there were no pretenses. Like she was just friendly and open and warm. And I just couldn't do anything but love her. And still today, feel the same exact way. I think she's bristled a little bit now because she's had such a tough navigation of this group. Because just think about it, we're so much older than she is too.
Mhm.
And I've never ever done it, but there's a lot of little girl and you haven't experienced, you don't know that she gets addressed with. And so again, she's trying to assert some of that, like, I do know. And she just has to find that vulnerable space. And I think hopefully I've made her know that she can be vulnerable with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And really quickly before we wrap, I just want to get your quick thoughts on Dr. Mimi.
Yeah, she's a sweetheart.
Yeah.
And I am so happy to have another doctor in the group.
Yeah.
Because I think too, when you watch shows like this,
Mhm.
you forget like how rare it is for Black people to be physicians. It's not a lot of us out here. And so to see another physician in the group, especially in Black Atlanta, right? It's a lot of us. And so I'm happy to see what she brings to the table, how she brings a new perspective on even like diagnosing us and calling us, she called Quad Manic the other day, I think, or something. I was like, oh my God.
Mhm.
But I think it's just nice to have another doctor in the group to basically be able to just give another perspective and
Yeah.
just also to see, again, another example of someone working hard and accomplishing their goals because
Mhm.
her and Steve also own their practice. And so that's great. And again, that's hard in 2025.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, Dr. Contessa Metcalfe, thank you so much for your time. We're so happy that you're back. We can't
Thank
wait to see
you.
more and more of you, and we're wishing you so much more success.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Thank you.